verbal intervention does work once or twice and maybe the third time. But after that, it's going to lose its impact if it is not backed up with a policy change. Now, I think what really made yesterday the market impact was his hint concerning the central bank, and that had been already mentioned here in your programs this morning, namely who could be appointed as the new Fed leader, who is going to be the deputy leader, who are going to be the other appointees, and how are they conducting their monetary policy. Is it going towards looseness, or is it going to be towards tightness? And the Trump rhetoric in the election campaign was very different. Remember, at that time, people were speculating about Taylor becoming the next Fed president. Now it is the possibility is now left open that maybe Yellen is going to stay in that chair because she is considered to be steady and loose. And I think that had an impact overnight on the US dollar. This linkage between the rhetoric and the Fed appointments and potential Fed policy.
Unambiguously, since the election, since November, we have had the market hanging on to every word of Mr. Trump and what he's going to do fiscally, what he's going to do or not going to do on BAT, etc., as well. Are we going post-Trump excitement in terms of the market reaction to where he says, given the fact that he has said, and I think even the supporters have to admit on certain issues he has changed his mind quite quickly, such as China, such as the dollar, such as Mrs. Yellen. So are we going post-Trump furore every time he says something?
Well, it's a little bit like when you go to a good restaurant, right? And you enjoy the food. First time you are getting very excited about that. You go the second time, and if you go each day, it is usual. It is like nothing new into that. And the same is actually happening with this political rhetoric. I guess after a while, the market is getting used to that, and after a while, the market is going to go back to what it does understand, namely fundamental interpretation of matters. And I think that the impact of Donald Trump on the US economy had been highly overestimated. So when you look at what point it says US economy closed its output gap, at what point could you see that there was a sharp acceleration in economic activity, leading indicators and so forth, that was before Donald Trump entered office. And I think it is about the animal spirit. It is about the capex situation in the United States, and that has a lot to do when you have closed your output gap and you have dealt with an economy which had been in a balance sheet recession for 7 or 8 years. Then you can have a sudden acceleration of economic growth and as well as sudden acceleration of inflation.
Just give me one word here. Let's do a bit of mind reading. Why has Donald Trump changed his mind on Janet Yellen? Why is steady and loose the right policy mix for this economy, which has sub 5% unemployment now?
If you are running into an expansionary program, you have always to think about funding. And funding. It is all about funding. It is all about the cost of funding and the availability of funds.
Okay.
So the availability of funds is you deregulate the banks, and the cost of funding, you make sure that the right guy is running the Fed.